Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn and I'm a psychic and a medium, and today is part 3 of your political questions being answered by my spirit guides. Now, I took the last part 2 and made it into 2 separate parts to make it a little smaller and more bite-sized. So without further ado, here we go. Hello, it's Angie says, in part 1, we talked about the logistics of TFG, the former guy, 45, being incarcerated. Might he be put in a military psych ward? Yes, he might be. A lot of my viewers have said military psych ward. I don't remember the name of it, but a lot of you guys have said that. To be completely honest with you guys, I don't even see that, because I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but it's too public. There's too many coming and going. I just told you guys how a guy was able to implant himself in the New York Times, right? How easy would it be? How corrupted are our Navy corpsmen? How corrupted we don't know. We don't know where the plants are. Trump basically opened the doors and let all the spies in and gave them jobs and gave them careers and gave them government positions that's very hard to remove them from. Right? I don't like it. It doesn't feel good to me. I don't see him in a public hospital. I don't see him in a public building. I see him in Gitmo. One building. Maybe that one building is separate on a military base. Maybe. I don't even see that. I see it maybe on the CIA headquarters. I mean, I don't know where I see it, but it's very shrouded in secrecy. He cannot be known to be anywhere near a public building. It's too risky. That's how serious this is. Okay, and then the other question was, how do your guides have good news about Colin Allred, who's challenging Ted Cruz? I like Colin Allred. He's an ex-NFL player. He's a African-American guy. He seems very good. I like his energy. His head is screwed on right. I really like him. I have a hard time getting him over the finish line. I wish I didn't, but I do. I will donate to him. I support him. I think he's I don't know. It looks like the Republicans are putting mines in his path, putting blocks in his path. I mean, these people are very resourceful. They have a lot of money. They can manufacture somebody that has a story. They can just demolish a person, especially with this new video, creating your own face and making you say things that you didn't say. These deep fake videos. I mean, I don't know. I like him. I hope he does well. He's got a hard road ahead of him. And it's not because of Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is I can't say the word. It's because he's a little too early. He launched too early, and you're going to give these people too much time to create a counter fight against you. If you've got a year, they've got a year. We really should, and I think the guides have said that, they're telling me they've said this before. The Democrats should hide their people. They should work them and get them ready, but hide them. Get a war chest like crazy, and then pop them on the scene 5 months before the election and let them run. Marathons are over. We cannot beat them if it's a long enough lead time. They have too much time to manufacture hit jobs on us. We need to wait to the very end and have somebody pop up and sprint. So that's also why I think he's got a problem. And I don't know, the Democrats, sometimes I would just wonder. Okay, Elise in the attic says, she wants to ask if Lukashenko, who's the president of Belarus, conspired with Prigozhin in his attempted coup, and if so, did he betray Prigozhin's plans to the Kremlin? No, not exactly. It's complicated. I did a video on this. It's very, very, very complicated, where this person is stabbing this person in the back, and then another person is stabbing the other person in the chest. Everybody's stabbing everybody. Lukashenko wants to act like he's weak. He's not. He's very wily. He's lived this long, and Putin has killed a lot of people. So there's obviously something that he's got going. Also, Lukashenko's people are not happy with him. I don't feel that Belarus people are happy with Lukashenko or Prigozhin or with Russia and the war in Ukraine. I think they don't feel like Lukashenko's protecting them. Now, as far as Lukashenko and Prigozhin, right. Listen, guys, there's a lot of things going on. Discernment, people, discernment. Ask yourself, where do you think Prigozhin is? He's not in prison. People say he's being held in Belarus. Some people say he's in Russia, in St. Petersburg. Some people say his plane is flying around. Some people say his army's here. Some people say his army's there. This guy's a warlord. He's a mafia gang warlord. You're not just going to make him give his weapons up. That's funny, actually, that his people are gonna put down their arms and be like, my bad, we're sorry. No, honey, that's not gonna happen. This is a freaking army this man has. This man takes his army into other countries and coups them for the highest dollar. So if you got enough money and you want to be the president of this country in Africa, all you got to do is pay him and he'll go in and make it happen. You think that kind of guy is going to just be arrested and give up his arms? Not going to happen. He's very protected. Now, he's less protected than Putin, but I do see that just because Putin has a bunker, and Prigozhin doesn't, he's a traveling guy. He makes his money by being out in the world, right? So and the powers that would kill him understand that his next in line lieutenant would just take over. So that didn't solve your problem. Now you got somebody you don't know running this crazy army, violent army, right? This is all the chess. This is all the stuff that has to be considered. It's just not simple, right? So I feel like right now we're in a stalemate, and then you have to throw in the fact that the United States is some kind of mad. Biden is some kind of mad. He's been mad, but now he's mad where you might say that he might allow the CIA to do certain things that America will never, ever say they did. Okay, so you got a lot of people sort of gunning for these people. The guides are saying that Kremlin, that Putin found out about Prigozhin's plans through a back channel, not through Lukashenko, but through a back channel. The Kremlin has a spy in the camp, in Prigozhin's camp, and that spy was able, through very difficult circumstances, with barely getting out with their lives, able to get a message to the Kremlin. The message was cryptic. It wasn't very well articulated. It was coded. We're talking about, if you could imagine somebody escaping a Nazi SS concentration camp, escaping that, and then traveling all the way across to another country to get a message out. This is the level of cloak and dagger that had to happen to let the Kremlin know about this. The Kremlin, and I did read on this, and Putin is basically scouring his inner circle. I told you guys this, if you watched the video on that. He's basically making all his inner circle pledge their allegiance to him through some kind of ways, right? So the thing that's happening right now, oh God, the thing that's happening right now is that there really could be the United States is putting pressure, I want to say, through Poland, and that could be through Polish high level, like SEAL Team 6, like special operations. This is all cloak and dagger. This is all happening under the surface, but Putin wants to blow up Zaporizhzhia. Putin wants to have a dirty bomb out of the nuclear plant. He wants to do this. He needs to do this. I told you guys that Putin was going to go out in a glory, in a explosion of glory. I don't remember the words they said, but a flame of glory, something like that. His worst nightmare would be to die or be taken out without inflicting this final pain. If he's going to die, he wants to take a lot of people with him. This is the energy right now. This is why the United States is involved. This is why Poland is involved. And I'm saying this in a secretive way. They are bringing people into that plant to help diffuse it, to help diffuse any kind of attack on the plant. I'm not 100% sure they're going to be successful. If they do blow it up, a lot of the radioactivity is going to go towards Russia. There's some arguments amongst the nuclear scientists that say it's a cold reactor plant. It's not working right now, but cold fuel rods that are not kept cold get hot, and then it becomes a hot reactor, and then we have a bigger kaboom and a bigger problem. So it's a very complicated thing that's happening, but I do know that we're not going to have a nuclear explosion that is going to blow up the planet. It's not going to blow up Europe. It's not going to blow up Ukraine. It's not going to blow up Poland. Could there be radioactive isotopes damaged? Could there be radioactive energy released? Yes, absolutely. Could that cause problems for Ukraine? Yes, it could cause some problems for Poland. It could cause some problems from some other countries. But let me tell you, I believe that's gonna trigger Article 5, which means NATO will get involved. And I think that Biden will be the lead person, and so will Poland. They will say, I see Biden pounding his fist on the table. We've got to trigger Article 5. We have to get NATO involved, at which point, game over. Game over. NATO gets involved. It's not World War III, you guys. It's game over. Putin is a paper tiger. He does not have nuclear warheads that are worth a damn. He's a paper tiger. They just need somebody to depose him, and they need to bring all their military off of the whole original boundaries of Ukraine, and then do whatever they need to do to get their act together. That's what needs to happen. And I'm wondering if this is how we get there. I wonder if a little triggered nuclear event that is not damaging per se to many countries, it's damaging maybe to, I feel like it's damaging to Ukraine, but I feel like it could be a little damaging to Poland or a little damaging to another country. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And I feel like NATO is saying it's a bigger deal than it is so that they can trigger Article 5. It makes sense to me because I saw somehow, I don't know how I saw it. I mean, I don't understand the reason for it, but I saw the blue helmets and I didn't know what they were. And I saw the blue helmets in Ukraine. And I think that's United Nations peacekeeping force. So that would mean that the war is over and that we've reached some kind of, treaty. So that would be a way to end this war. Game over. Game over. But hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. I'm channeling, so I never know what I'm saying. Okay, thank you for that question, Elise in the attic. Colleen Peterson says, just curious about Jim Clyburn. What is your update on his situation that you mentioned before? Was it brushed under a rug? So it turns out without going all into it, that Jim Clyburn, big Democrat in the South. It turns out that investigative reporters say that they have proof that he worked with Republicans to keep his district, that he worked with Republicans so they wouldn't take away his district, so he could keep in his district, keep his job. But also in doing so, that turned other districts red. This reporter, these reports, I believe them. I believe this happened. I believe that he went too far. I believe that sometimes when you've been in your role for a very long time, you get into this horse trading kind of energy and you end up doing deals with the devil. And sometimes you have to do things that are against your values to be able to get somewhere. And maybe in his mind, he thought, I'm a leader. I have a leadership role. I've got to keep my role here. I'm more important. I'm doing more important things. It's better for me to save my job than for me to lose my job and for us to lose those other districts. So you can see how someone could, work it through their mind and make it make sense. He didn't do anything illegal. Will the Democrats hold him accountable? I don't think so. I think that they'll take a Democrat right now. They'll take a D. And he's a beloved guy. And I'm not sure that his constituents will hold him accountable. However, when I go into the energy, I do see a firebrand energy, a younger man who's also African American. His chest is pumped up. He has righteous anger. He feels like him and his people have been sold down the river, so to speak. He might have been one of the men that ran for office. I'm not sure, but there's some energy about challenging Clyburn, about saying, you just need to step down, sir. You just need to retire. You've had a long, illustrious career. We want to honor you. We want you to step down while you're at the top of your game, because if you don't step down, these younger, more energetic, more representative of your constituents, people are going to run against you, right? It's kind of like the lion, the old lion. At some point, the young lion's going to beat you, right? So they're trying to give him respect. They're trying to give him a way out. We'll see if he takes it. Okay. Thank you for your question, Colleen. Crystal Dragon Woman says, let's see, your question is about, I would love your political guide's perspective on Leo Leonard, who draws up the GOP list for the judicial and is on the boards of the Federalist Society and Opus Dei, an international arch conservative Catholic organization founded in 1928. Several Supreme Court justices and William Barr have been well-known connections to Opus Dei, including Scalia, Alito, Thomas, and Roberts. Leonard was recently given over $1 billion for his nonprofit to push his Opus Dei theocratic agenda. Right. Yes. The guides, we thought that the Federalist Society, right. This is a good example for you guys on how free will can change the trajectory of a timeline. Back when that article came out that Thomas was having these lavish vacations paid for by Crow, and Crow bought his mother's house, Supreme Court Thomas's house, and all this unethical stuff. The guides said the energy coming out of Leonard Leo and the Federalist Society was, Thomas, you've got to step down because you're bringing the light to us. The investigators are now looking at us. We don't want to be investigated. We want to cut ties. we want to let you go, because if maybe the investigators will follow you if we cut ties to you, and they won't come looking at us. We want to go back into darkness. That was maybe 2 months ago. Well, now I think the energy suggests that it's too late for the Federalist Society. They realize that they can't, that it doesn't matter, that if they do cut ties with all of those people, with Alito, with Gorsuch, with Roberts, with all of them, Kavanaugh, Thomas, it's too late. It's too late. The game is on. The trail leads to them, regardless of whether those justices go or not. So now the Federalist Society has pivoted. They've pivoted. And you see the same energy with the Supreme Court saying, screw you, eat cake. We don't care what you think. You're peons, you're peasants. Go away. We have important things to do here, right? So that's the energy. And that is the energy of the Federalist Society as well. It's like they've decided, well, we're going to be convicted. We're going to be indicted for this charge anyway. Let's just walk to the gallows proudly, right? That's the energy. The energy is screw you. That's also coming from the Federalist Society. So now, instead of them being able to scurry back into their dark corner or their hole, I think that's been blocked. Their exit has been blocked. Now they got to stand in the public. So now what we have is the Supreme Court saying, this is what we stand for. We're proud of it. We stand by our rulings. We're proud of our rulings. And so is Leonard Leo and Opus Dei. Everybody is saying, hey, it's sort of like all these people coming out as Nazis, right? All these people saying, hey, we're proud. We're proud to be KKK members. We're going to show you who we are. We're not going to cover it up. We're not going to run anymore. So now America gets to get a real wide-eyed look at this, a real honest, frank look at the rot. And this is what I'm saying, what they said earlier about Americans just like wanting to clean their eyes out. Am I really seeing that? Wait, am I really seeing that? Is that really happening? Right? So we're going to deal with it. I do see the justices stepping down. I don't see Leonard Leo or the Federalist Society or Opus Dei stepping down. I see them trying to muscle more power. I see them trying to even bring a president in 24 that would be saying, yeah, this is who we are. You call us a fascist, but we call ourselves whatever, right? I really think they're going to own it. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think that Americans can be fooled. I think that, look, you guys always talk about that Rachel Maddow podcast that I can't think of the name of right now, where she talks about how we had Nazis in our Congress. This isn't new, right? This is what freedom gets you. Freedom gets you mess. It gets you a lot of dissenting voices. And people get to vote freely. And there are many countries that have fascists on their governing body, whatever you want to call it. European countries that have out fascists. I mean, it's crazy town, right? But the difference is that, yes, there might be a fascist that has a vote, but we don't have a Hitler right now with train cars of human beings going to their death. We don't have that. This energy is coming forth in a new way. In my opinion, a way that's more manageable. Yes, you're a fascist. Okay, we're going to educate people about that. And hopefully we're going to choose a different outcome. Much different than Hitler's outcome. Same energy, different representation of the energy. Okay. I don't know if that, hopefully that makes sense. Okay. One or two more questions. Pam says, what will happen to Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, who is the sole guy that's stopping 250 military appointees, including really, really important ones that we haven't been without, that's really starting to affect our national security? What will happen to Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville? I gotta look. I don't know. It's complicated. It's a complicated answer. He's quite protected. Sadly, he's quite protected, but right. Okay. He's protected, but this energy comes out of nowhere. Again, back to Tucker Carlson, right? He just disappeared overnight, right? This is the energy. Tommy Tuberville is going to step down. He's going to disappear off the stage. Something is going to happen to him. He's going to disappear. It doesn't mean he's going to be abducted by aliens. It means that he's going to step down, or he's going to get sick, or something is going to happen to him. It could be legal, it could be criminal, but something is going to take him out. He's not long. I don't see him there by the end of next year. Again, I know that's too long, but you guys have this energy is gaining steam, and then it seems to coalesce and kind of take hold this fall through the summer of next year. So it's not here yet. I keep telling you guys, we're in the preamble. The musicians are warming up. They're not playing yet. The athletes are warming up. They're not playing yet. The game begins in the fall. And then it just takes a little time to catch up with everybody. Okay. Well, last question is going to be from Marcela Casals, who has family in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The country has suffered deep corruption and has skyrocketed inflation, impoverished half the country. So imagine imagine you think inflation is bad here, right? This is literally made half of the country impoverished. Do the guides see this rich country ever returning to what it once was many, many decades ago? There is an election later this year, and if the same folks stay in positions of power, the country will implode, and the corrupt will allow China to take over strategic areas and mineral resources. So again, you see these power plays. You see Russia and Prigozhin, no less. Prigozhin is the one who gave us Trump. He's the one who launched all of that social media, internet, mind effery, and caused us all to lose our minds. Now, what she's saying is China's doing the same thing to Argentina. And Argentina, when I go into the energy of Argentina, it's a big country, and it's a lot of it is rural, but Buenos Aires is very, very obviously populated, but there's a lot of minerals, a lot of money there. So apparently their president is selling out, is saying, I'm hearing coup. Wow. I don't know, dear. I just don't know. I don't see. It's bad because I think your topography is very mountainous. And it's hard for people. What happens is it keeps people separated. I mean, Buenos Aires is a very big city. I think you have some big cities, but I think a lot of people are just subsistence. They're subsiding on the land, and they're very spread out, and that's very hard to control. But when I go into the energy of Buenos Aires, I think a lot of your people left. I feel like a lot of citizens that had the ability left. They literally took took whatever money, cash they had, and they left. They left their building, their whatever behind. They took their family and left. There's a lot of young people there. There's going to be a lot of disruption. There's going to be a lot of I don't know. It feels like China is influencing the leaders to make it a communist country. Whereas, okay, so you're all poor, you have no money. The big daddy government is going to give you some rice and give you this little piece of meat and give you this little piece of thing, right? It feels like China's trying to make it into a communist government. That's what it feels like. And I don't know that China wants to take over. That's not what they want. They do want that strategic areas, and so does Russia, but Russia's game over. They've already played all their cards and they had no cards. So they're getting their butt kicked. Interesting. It's interesting. I wish I could tell you something good, Marcella. I don't know. I don't see anything really good right now. I wish I could say otherwise, but I just don't see it. You could have a lot of unrest around this around this vote. A lot of unrest, violence. In some ways, sadly, if China came in, there could be some balancing. If they came in, they could balance things, because nobody makes money when everybody's in the streets, right? So if they could balance the tempers, I hate to say that, but that's the only thing I can see. I just don't see, I don't see any other way. There's a very slim chance that that Argentina pulls off something. It's a chance. There's a chance, but it's a slim chance. And again, back to discernment. It could look like somebody who's for the people, but it turns out they're really for China. They're not really for the people, but they get in office because they say all the right things and do all the right things. And maybe they sprinkle a little bit of happiness around, but in reality, they really aren't for the people. So I don't know. That's what I have. I wish I could say something better, but that's what I'm getting. Listen, everybody, thank you so much for watching to the end. If you're still here, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me your questions. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate that too. Take really, really, really good care of yourself. Things are about to start hopping. I would just say this. I doubt some of you diehards are still listening. Be careful of the men in your life that would be MAGAs. They're about to be very unhappy. When the shoe starts dropping, they're going to be very, very unhappy. And some of them are violent. Some of them can be violent. Be very careful. Just don't take any chances. Be careful. Okay. Listen, I'll talk to you guys soon in the next video. For entertainment purposes only.